name is Katie Knickrum. I am going into my 14th year of homeschooling my children. I have 6 children. I have graduated 1, and I have obviously 5 left, ranging from 4th grade to 12th grade.
We're starting our 12th year. So I have an 11th grader, a 9th grader, and a preschooler.
I had taught school. I taught public school 5 years, private school 5 years. And then when our daughter came along, a neighbor asked us, were we going to do public or private? And I said, I'm thinking home.
My name is Hope Mabe, and I have been homeschooling starting this fall. We're in our 22nd year. We have 4 children, and 3 are graduated, and I still have 1 left in high school.
My name is Jennifer, and I have homeschooled for about 15 years. I have 2 young men who are now graduated and attending college currently.
Favorite curriculum. When our daughter was young, we did 5 in a row. I'm going to show you what it looked like when the lady first made it. This is what it looks like. Format now. The concept is you read the same book for 5 days. So on Monday, you read the book out loud. You cut out a little disc that has a picture that represents the book, and you place it on the map. I just grabbed open one to this lesson, The Little Red Lighthouse and the Great Gray Bridge. It was not a book I was familiar with. And then the second day you read the story again, and then you pick one of the activities. But each day that you read the book, you do one activity. But that was one of the things that helped my daughter's love of learning to continue. So that's one of the things that you can find here used. Sometimes you're going to need to review and ask questions. You're going to have to look at the material. Here you've got 6 weeks to bring materials back. A lot of curriculum, even some that we carry here, will give you an online sample where you can do the first, say, 7 or 8 pages to see if it's a good fit and see if it's the right level for your child. One of the questions on here is, do we offer digital or online curriculum? We do have switched on Schoolhouse. We have them for each grade, 1st through 12th. We can order more. You plug it into a computer and load the courses. There are some parent controls that can set the number of problems the child has to do before they can move on, or whether spelling errors will be accepted. Bob Jones and Abeka have online options. They have also video classes that come on disc, that come to your house that you can watch. For reading, we have Abeka readers. Bob Jones, we carry new and used. Abeka's only used. We have All About Reading, very popular curriculum. We are one of the few places that carry it used. We make sure that people get a complete set, or they're replacing a part that's been lost or damaged. We have All About Spelling, Bob Jones Spelling, A Reason for Spelling, Purposeful Design Spelling, Rod and Staff Spelling, Spectrum Spelling, Christian Liberty Press Spelling. And then across the bottom, I can see even more. I'm just looking at them. Spelling Power. Goes on and on and on. We have Master Book, Answers in Genesis, Rod and Staff, a lot of secular books. We're trying to have more of a variety right now because we're having a more variety of people. Behind me is Bob Jones, which is traditional textbook. So when you're deciding if you want to homeschool, if you want more traditional school, you can do that. You can use public school books if you can get hold of them. You can use discarded materials. There are a lot of books that you can buy online, a lot that we have here. Or you can use materials designed specifically for homeschool. On this side, we have Apologia, and that's a company that was started and then sold to another group, and it's based on science. They also have expanded and have language arts and Bible studies. So there's lots of materials there.
I've always been a huge fan of Saxon Math because it has, well, first of all, it has a free online assessment. You could print it out. Your kids you can see what level they are on, and it really has been proven over and over and over again when it comes to standardized testing, that kids that do Saxon math and they're doing the spiral method, which means they're practicing, what they learned last week, 3 weeks ago, little bits of problems every single day. It really does help.
I'm going to show you a few of my favorite books that I have used in the past with all 4 of mine. That helps to get organized and to keep things organized and kind of on track. Gives you great ideas on how to do some literature based things and also some electives as well. I have this book. It's called Home Designed High School, and within this it has some literature guides that would tell you what to do for American literature, for British literature, English literature. It's got some character development that you would want to work with your high schooler on, as far as like money management, responsibilities. It also has some reproducible things in the back, that like transcripts, a book report sheet that would be helpful as a guideline. And then it also has a breakdown of every grade and what each parent feels like you should be accomplishing for that grade by subject: math, language, science, history, electives. And so it's just a very helpful resource. Working here at Goyens, I was exposed to a few different programs and curriculum that I was not aware of before I started working here, that I wish I had been aware of with my 2 oldest. And one of those is called teaching textbooks. And teaching textbooks for the high school is 1 page a day, because their philosophy is up through 7th or 8th grade, they should know all the basic grammar facts. They do 1 page a day to reinforce, and then they're going to use daily in their research papers, writing out the answers to their homework questions or their end of chapter questions. They're going to use the knowledge that they've already gained in elementary school and middle school, and they're putting it into practice during high school. So this is what I use for grammar. For math, I really love the teaching textbooks. It's a DVD program, and then most recently they have a 3.0 where everything is on the computer. It has a teacher in the background, and you have like a whiteboard, and then he goes through step by step to explain each fact to the child so that they can grasp the concept of what they're teaching that day. And so, like I said, that just took a lot of pressure off of me as a parent. And it also frees up maybe some time if you are working from home or have a public job, that that they can sit down and do the math lessons on their own. Absolutely love, for history, the Knotgrass history. It's very informative, it's very easy to read, and there are so many facets that come with this through the literature. If you read the literature program that goes with the history, that counts as your literature course as well. It correlates with what you're studying in the book, and it just reinforces what they're reading every day. And this is just good quality history that I am a huge fan of personally. And then for science, I really like the 101 series. Our family is we can do science, but we don't prefer science. We're more of a literature and history fans, and every family works differently, of course. But we like the 101 series because it has everything that you need in one DVD case. You have lectures, you have a PDF format that has the book, it has labs, it has the test and test key, and it also has a scope and sequence that I ran off, which is what the student needs to be doing every day, but it's the parent's guide to make sure that your child is doing what they need to do every day. And those are just a few of my favorites.
My sons, they did well to start out with the traditional curriculum, but as they got older, they needed more hands-on, they needed more activity. And eventually we found the Charlotte Mason, Simply Charlotte Mason, which we have some right here. This is the Simply Charlotte Mason. It is Genesis through Deuteronomy, and they study ancient Egypt, and they put the Bible into it. They have some language arts in there, but this is mainly their history. They use living books, that they use a story form, a narrative form. As the child listens to this information or they read that information, then they narrate back to you, whether it's orally or whether it's writing it down. They narrate it back to you, and that helps them to learn and retain that information that they just heard. My Father's World, this is an example of the teacher book from My Father's World. These are what we consider, or some consider, integrated studies, and I always suggest to these type of materials for especially for families of any size, but families that may have 2 or more children. A lot of times you have so much curriculum out there that if you have more than one child, sometimes it's best to have the same history or the same science for your entire family, and do history and science as a family.
Absolute minimum, that you have to spend per year is $20 for your annual test. And if that's all you can spend, then there's enough free resources out there that you can make it work. And that's all you have to spend. So it's a trade-off between time and money. So how much time do you want to put into it versus how much money do you want to put into it? So the more money you spend, typically the less time you have to spend as parent being administrator of those homeschool things. So there's a scale all the way, up to what could almost amount to private school tuition for full curriculum correspondence packages through basically what becomes a homeschool distance learning private school. When you're picking curriculum, knowing your goals, starting with your math and English, set yourself a limit, because you could easily spend thousands, and you don't have to. So if you set yourself a hard limit, it gives you a really nice framework to kind of work within, and then you eliminate some choices and there's just less distraction, and it doesn't mean you're going to be getting less just because you have a budget.
If you choose a Becca or Bob Jones, then you can have the online option and save some money by purchasing the teacher books used if you need it, or the answer keys. You probably, anything that's consumable, you can also do the history books, the science books, those used. That's one way to save money. That's a way we can help there. Some of the stores are consignment stores. You bring in your materials, you tell them how much you want for it, they put it on the shelf if they have room for it, and they try to sell the materials, and when it sells, you get a commission. We don't do that here. We buy straight out. It depends on what we need. Right now, things are coming in one day and going out the next.
Go to homeschoolclassifieds.com too. There's a lot that you can get used. And also go to Homeschool Curriculum Marketplace on Facebook. People actually have to post pictures of and they'll talk about the curriculum. And so I'd say within $40 to $60 per subject per kid. Now, there are subjects that you can combine. You can combine history. You can take your 4th grader and 6th grader and sit them down and do the same curriculum, because the topic is going to be the same. A lot of them are for family, but, obviously you're not going to maybe give a 4th grader a test with essay questions like you may with a 6th grader. So you can kind of adapt that way. Also, go to McKay in both Greensboro and Winston-Salem. They have lots of homeschool curriculum for cheap. 25-cent books, $1 books, $5 books. There's a curriculum called Easy Peasy. It's online and it's free. My kids, once they hit 11th grade, they attend community college for dual enrollment.
Seeing I mentioned the Homeschool Conference, this is the brochure for it, and it's called Thrive. It is sponsored by North Carolinians for Home Education, nche.com. It's not anything in front of it. nche.com. Wonderful resource. It gives you a list of the support areas for your area. There's a contact person for your area of the state. If you have questions, you can contact them directly. They will let you know what you can find close by. The conference each year is amazing. Gullions, I think, is a wonderful resource. It's full of materials. But even as much as we have here, there's 100 times as much at the conference, usually. So it's exciting to be there and to see.
I'm also a co-planner for Carolina Homeschool Conference. So unfortunately, our NCHE statewide convention got canceled this year, but we had a small local conference in Apex last year that we were planning to do again this year, but we decided too much uncertainty to plan an in-person conference, so we went online. So now we'll be available to anybody statewide, and that's carolinahomeschoolconference.com. We really focus on just encouragement, not necessarily the how-tos or but really helping you with that mindset of, I can take this on, I can do this. Our keynote speakers, talking about self-care and finding your flow with homeschooling, and how do you take care of yourself so that you can pour out to your kids. So yeah, those kind of things are really more our focus.